The Crimson Dawn commander Elena Vasquez was reviewing morning patrol reports when the first alert started screaming across every communication channel on Earth. She dropped her coffee and ran to the main command center at Peterson Space Force Base, where dozens of technicians were frantically working at their stations. The massive holographic display showed something that made her blood run cold. 37 enormous vessels had appeared in Earth's atmosphere without warning. They hadn't come from space in any way that human sensors could detect. They simply materialized above major cities like London, New York, Tokyo, and Moscow. Each ship was roughly the size of Manhattan, with a sleek, crimson hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "What's the status on our orbital defense platforms?" Elena asked her communications officer. "All stations report ready, ma'am, but these things appeared inside our defensive perimeter. They bypassed everything." Dr. Marcus Chen burst through the command center doors, still wearing his laboratory coat. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, he had been called in the moment the ships appeared. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by barely controlled excitement and terror. "Commander, I've been analyzing the energy signatures from these vessels. The technology is at least 500 years ahead of anything we have. The power output from just one of those ships could supply the entire North American continent for a year." Elena studied the display more carefully. The alien ships weren't moving or showing any signs of aggression, but their mere presence was causing worldwide panic. Fighter jets were scrambling from air bases across the globe, though she doubted conventional weapons would be effective against such advanced technology. "Any communication attempts?" she asked. "They've been broadcasting on all frequencies for the past 10 minutes, replied Lieutenant Torres from the communication station. Same message repeating in every human language simultaneously. Elena nodded grimly. "Put it through the speakers." A voice filled the command center, speaking perfect English with an otherworldly resonance that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "People of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Zixtar of the Vorthan Empire. Your planet has been selected for integration into our galactic domain. You have one standard rotation of your world to surrender unconditionally. Resistance will result in the elimination of your species. This is not a negotiation." The message ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Elena felt the weight of the entire world settling on her shoulders. As the highest-ranking officer in Earth's unified defense force, the next decision she made would determine humanity's survival. "Get me Admiral Cross immediately," she ordered, "and patch me through to every military commander on the planet. We're going to need everyone." Captain Zara al-Rashid was already in her F-35 Lightning II when the scramble order came through. As the leader of the 421st Fighter Squadron, she had trained for this moment her entire career, though she had always hoped it would never come. The reality of facing an alien invasion was far more terrifying than any simulation. "Viper Squadron, this is Viper 1, she spoke into her helmet microphone as her fighter screamed through the clouds toward the alien vessel hovering over downtown Denver. "Remember your training, stay in formation and watch each other's backs." Her radar was useless against the alien ship. It appeared as nothing more than empty space despite being clearly visible to the naked eye. The massive crimson vessel loomed above the city like a dark storm cloud, casting an ominous shadow over millions of people below. "Viper 1, this is Base Command," came Elena's voice through the radio. "You are authorized to engage, but be careful. We need intelligence on their capabilities." Zara armed her missiles and locked onto the alien ship's hull. The targeting system struggled to find a purchase on the strange material, but eventually showed a solid lock. "Viper Squadron, engaging target now." 6 AIM-120 missiles streaked through the air toward the alien vessel. Zara watched in amazement as a shimmering barrier appeared around the ship, absorbing the explosions without any visible damage. The missiles simply vanished into the energy field like raindrops hitting a pond. "Command, this is Viper 1. Conventional weapons are ineffective. They have some kind of defensive shield." Before Elena could respond, the alien ship fired back. A lance of crimson energy shot from the vessel's underside, striking Viper 4's fighter. The plane simply disintegrated, leaving nothing but scattered debris and the horrified screams of the other pilots over the radio. "Evasive maneuvers. Zara shouted, pulling her fighter into a steep dive. "Break formation and get out of range." The alien ship continued firing, its weapons tracking the fighters with impossible accuracy. In less than 30 seconds, Zara had lost half her squadron. The survivors scattered across the sky, using every trick they knew to avoid the deadly energy beams. Back at Peterson Base, engineer Tommy Sparks O'Brien was frantically analyzing the energy readings from the battle. His nickname came from his tendency to accidentally electrocute himself while working on sensitive electronics, but his understanding of electromagnetic phenomena was unmatched. "Commander, I'm seeing something interesting," he called out to Elena. "Every time they fire that main weapon, there's a massive power fluctuation in their defensive shield. For about 2.3 seconds, their protection drops to almost nothing." Elena's eyes lit up with hope. "Are you certain?" "Absolutely. It's like they can't maintain both systems at full power simultaneously. If our pilots could time their attacks for right after the aliens fire, they might be able to cause some real damage." Elena immediately contacted Zara. "Viper 1, we have new intel. When they fire their main weapon, their shields go down for about 2 seconds. That's your window." Zara acknowledged the information and began coordinating with the surviving fighters. It was a dangerous plan that required perfect timing, but it was the first real hope they had found. "All remaining Vipers, this is Viper 1. We're going to use ourselves as bait. When that thing fires at me, everyone else hits it with everything you've got." Zara flew her fighter directly at the alien ship, making herself an irresistible target. The crimson energy beam lanced out toward her, and she pulled into the most violent, evasive maneuver of her life. The beam missed by inches, melting the paint off her wing. In that instant, 4 remaining fighters unleashed their entire payload of missiles at the alien vessel. This time, with the shields down, the explosions tore into the ship's hull. Atmosphere vented from multiple breaches, and several sections of the vessel went dark. "We hurt them," Zara shouted in triumph. "The shields are their weakness." But her celebration was short-lived. The alien ship began to glow with an ominous light, and energy readings spiked to levels that made Sparks's instruments scream warnings. "All fighters, get out of there now," Elena commanded over the radio. "They're powering up something big." Dr. Chen had been monitoring the alien ship's internal structure using ground-based sensors. What he saw made his face go pale. "Commander, they're not preparing to fire at the fighters. They're charging some kind of orbital bombardment weapon. The energy signature suggests it could level half of Colorado." Elena felt her heart stop. If the aliens were willing to destroy an entire region just to eliminate a few fighters, what would they do to major population centers? The message had been clear: surrender or face extinction. All units, fall back immediately. Do not engage unless specifically ordered. As the human fighters retreated, the alien ship's charging sequence suddenly stopped. The ominous glow faded, and the vessel returned to its passive hovering state. It seemed the aliens had made their point. They could have destroyed the fighters, and everything else in the area, but chose not to. They wanted humanity to understand the futility of resistance. Admiral Helena Cross arrived at Peterson Base just as the first engagement was ending. A career military officer with 30 years of experience, she had commanded forces in every major conflict of the past decade, but nothing had prepared her for this. "What's our assessment?" she asked Elena as they walked toward the situation room. "Their technology is overwhelming but not invincible," Elena replied. "We found a weakness in their defensive systems, but exploiting it requires precise timing and significant sacrifice. Even when we damaged one ship, they showed they could retaliate with devastating force." Dr. Chen joined them, carrying a tablet full of data. "I've been analyzing the ship we damaged. The hull breach revealed something interesting about their internal structure. The vessels appear to be largely automated with minimal crew requirements. Most of the ship's functions are controlled by advanced artificial intelligence." Admiral Cross studied the information carefully. "Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? If we could somehow get aboard one of those ships, we might be able to take control of their automated systems, but it would require a boarding action unlike anything we've ever attempted." Elena felt a spark of hope. Throughout human history, their species had survived by adapting and finding creative solutions to impossible problems. Maybe this was no different. "How would we even get close enough to board one of those ships?" she asked. Sparks, who had been listening to the conversation, suddenly looked up from his equipment. "I might have an idea about that. When their shields went down, I detected something else. Their sensor arrays also experience interference during the power fluctuation. For those same 2.3 seconds, they're essentially blind." The pieces of a plan began forming in Elena's mind. It was dangerous beyond measure, and the chances of success were minimal. But humanity had always been willing to take impossible risks when their survival was at stake. "Admiral, I need to speak with you privately," Elena said. "I think I know how we can turn this around." As the sun set on Earth's first day of alien occupation, the seeds of humanity's counterattack were already being planted. The Vorthon Empire had made a critical error in their assessment of human capabilities. They saw a primitive species with inferior technology, but they failed to understand the one thing that made humans truly dangerous: their refusal to give up, no matter how impossible the odds appeared to be. Part 2. The Human Gambit. 18 hours. After the first alien ships appeared, humanity launched the most audacious military operation in their history. Deep beneath Peterson Space Force Base, Admiral Helena Cross stood before a holographic display showing the positions of all 37 Vorthon vessels. Her plan was simple in concept, but nearly impossible in execution: simultaneous boarding actions against multiple alien ships. "Remember, we only get one shot at this," she addressed the assembled team leaders through secure video link. "The moment one ship detects our presence, they'll all know. We need to hit them fast and hard before they can coordinate a response." Sergeant Lisa Ghost Martinez checked her equipment one final time. As the leader of Earth's most elite Special Forces unit, she had conducted impossible missions on every continent. But infiltrating an alien warship was beyond anything in her training manual. Her team had been modified with experimental technology, reverse-engineered from the damaged Vorthon ship, including personal shield generators that would hopefully hide them from alien sensors. "Ghost Team is ready for deployment," she reported, through her helmet communicator. "Stealth shuttles are prepped and waiting for the signal." The shuttles themselves were marvels of human engineering and alien technology combined. In just 16 hours, Earth's best engineers had stripped the damaged Vorthon vessel of its stealth capabilities and integrated them into modified military transport craft. Tommy Sparks O'Brien had worked without sleep to make the impossible fusion of technologies actually function. "The stealth systems are holding, but they're not perfect," Sparks warned from his monitoring station. "You'll have maybe 30 minutes of invisibility before the alien systems adapt to our modifications. After that, you're on your own." Professor Sarah Kim sat at a bank of computers, her fingers dancing across multiple keyboards simultaneously. A former MIT prodigy who had joined the military's cyber warfare division, she had spent the night developing what she called the Trojan Protocol, a computer virus specifically designed to infiltrate and subvert Vorthon AI systems. "The virus is ready for deployment," she announced. "Once you establish a connection to their central computer core, I can upload it through the quantum link. But someone needs to physically access their command center and interface with their main systems." Captain Zara al-Rashid had volunteered to pilot one of the stealth shuttles despite Admiral Cross's objections. After losing half her squadron in the previous day's battle, she was determined to strike back at the aliens who had killed her friends. "Viper 1 standing by for launch authorization," she reported from the cockpit of Stealth Shuttle Alpha. "All systems green and ready for infiltration." Commander Elena Vasquez coordinated the entire operation from the main command center. Multiple screens showed the status of teams preparing to board ships over London, Tokyo, Moscow, Sydney, and 12 other major cities simultaneously. Each team knew that failure meant not just their own deaths, but the extinction of the human race. "All teams, this is Command Central. Operation Prometheus is now active. Launch in T-minus 60 seconds. The stealth shuttles lifted off from hidden military bases around the world, their experimental cloaking systems bending light and electromagnetic radiation around their hulls. To any observer, They would appear to be nothing more than empty air. The shuttles approached their targets from multiple angles, timing their approach to coincide with the moment when the Vorthon ships would be most vulnerable. Dr. Marcus Chen monitored the alien ship's behavior patterns from his mobile laboratory. Over the past day, he had noticed that the Vorthon vessels followed predictable maintenance cycles, during which their sensor efficiency dropped by approximately 15%. "All teams, you have optimal conditions in 3 minutes," he broadcast. "Their sensor sweeps will be at minimum effectiveness for a 12-minute window." Zara guided her shuttle toward the massive Vorthon ship hovering over downtown Denver. Up close, the alien vessel was even more intimidating than it appeared from a distance. The crimson hull seemed to pulse with internal energy, and strange symbols glowed along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Ghost team were approaching the docking bay Dr. Chen identified. She whispered into her communicator. "Looks like their shields are down for maintenance, just like," he predicted. Lisa and her team prepared for deployment. Each soldier carried experimental weapons that fired bursts of electromagnetic energy, designed to disrupt Vorthon technology. They also had explosive charges modified with alien power sources, making them 10 times more powerful than conventional explosives. "Remember the mission," Lisa reminded her team. "Get to the command center, secure the central computer core, and hold position until Professor Kim can upload the virus. Secondary objective is to capture as many intact systems as possible." The shuttle slipped through the Vorthon ship's energy barriers like a ghost passing through a wall. Zara landed in what appeared to be a cargo bay filled with strange crystalline containers. The architecture was unlike anything human, with flowing organic curves that seemed to pulse with bioluminescent light. "We're inside," Lisa reported as her team disembarked. No sign of alien crew members yet. Beginning infiltration of the ship's interior. Similar reports came in from teams around the world. The Vorthon ships were surprisingly empty of personnel, confirming Dr. Chen's theory that they relied heavily on automated systems. Most ships had crews of fewer than 50 aliens managing vessels the size of cities. Major David "Tank" Thompson led the assault team through the alien corridors. His squad was responsible for eliminating any Vorthon resistance, while the technical teams worked on capturing the ship's computer systems. The interior of the alien vessel was a maze of interconnected chambers, each serving functions that human science could barely comprehend. "Movement ahead," Tank whispered into his communicator. 2 contacts, approximately 7 feet tall, heading toward the central hub. The first Vorthon aliens the humans encountered were tall, graceful beings with elongated limbs and large, multifaceted eyes. They moved with fluid precision but seemed utterly unprepared for close-quarters combat. When Tank's team engaged them with electromagnetic pulse weapons, the aliens collapsed immediately, their advanced suits sparking and failing. "Targets neutralized," Tank reported. "These beings are completely dependent on their technology. Without their suits, they're helpless." Lisa's team reached the ship's command center, a vast spherical chamber lined with holographic displays showing star maps, energy readings, and communication feeds from across the galaxy. In the center of the room sat a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with internal light, clearly the ship's central computer core. "Professor Kim, we've found the main computer," Lisa reported. "It's unlike anything we've ever seen. How do we interface with this thing?" Sarah's voice crackled through the communicator from Earth. "The crystal formation should have access ports near its base. Look for indentations that match the communication devices we recovered from the damaged ship." Tommy Sparks O'Brien had joined Lisa's team specifically for this moment. He pulled out a modified alien communication device and approached the central computer carefully. The moment he made contact, the entire chamber erupted in warning lights and alarms. "They know we're here," Lisa shouted. "How long do you need?" "Just give me 30 seconds, Sparks replied, his hands flying over the alien interface. "I'm establishing the quantum link now." Throughout the ship, blast doors began sealing as the Vorthon AI systems activated security protocols. Tank's team found themselves cut off from the command center, forced to fight their way through automated defense systems that emerged from the walls themselves. Professor Kim's virus began uploading through the quantum connection, spreading like digital wildfire through the alien ship's networks. But the Vorthon AI was fighting back, trying to isolate and contain the human code before it could reach critical systems. The virus is encountering heavy resistance, Sarah reported from Earth. Their AI is more sophisticated than we anticipated. I need more time to break through their firewalls. Commander Zixtar, the Supreme Commander of the Vorthan Fleet, materialized as a hologram in the command center where Lisa's team was working. The alien leader was tall and imposing, with skin that shifted between different shades of crimson and eyes that glowed with inner fire. Primitive beings. Zixtar spoke in perfect English, his voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in the human's bones. You cannot comprehend the forces you are attempting to manipulate. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Lisa pointed her weapon at the hologram, knowing it was useless but unable to resist the gesture. We're not surrendering to anyone. This is our planet and we're taking it back. Zixtar's expression showed something that might have been amusement. Your species shows remarkable tenacity for such a young civilization. But tenacity without wisdom leads only to extinction. You are fighting technology that has conquered 1,000 worlds. Maybe, Lisa replied, but you've never fought humans before. At that moment, Professor Kim's virus broke through the final firewall. The effects were immediate and dramatic. Throughout the ship, automated systems began shutting down or switching to human control. The artificial gravity fluctuated, lights dimmed, and the constant humming of the engines fell silent. Virus deployment successful, Sarah shouted over the communication link. I'm gaining access to their central databases. The amount of information here is incredible. Star maps, technology schematics, tactical data on their entire empire. Similar successes were being reported from boarding teams around the world. Human forces had managed to infiltrate and begin taking control of 17 of the 37 Vorthan ships. But the aliens were not defenseless, and the remaining 20 ships began preparing for a devastating counterattack. Commander Zixtar's hologram flickered with rage. You think this small victory means anything? You have captured less than half of our vessels, and we can destroy your entire planet with what remains. Elena's voice came through the communication system from Earth. Command. Actually, Commander, I think you'll find that's no longer an option. The holographic display in the command center changed to show the positions of all Vorthan ships. The 17 captured vessels had turned their weapons on the 20 ships still under alien control. For the first time since arriving at Earth, the Vorthan fleet found itself facing weapons of equal power. Impossible, Zixtar breathed. Our security protocols prevent captured vessels from being used against the fleet. Sarah's laughter echoed through the chamber. Your security protocols were designed to prevent other Vorthan from taking control. They never considered the possibility of a completely alien intelligence infiltrating your systems. Humans think differently than you do, and that's your weakness. The captured Vorthan ships opened fire on their former fleetmates. Energy beams that could level cities tore through space, overwhelming the shields of the remaining alien vessels. Within minutes, 6 more ships had been disabled and boarded by human forces launched from the captured vessels. Zixtar's composure finally cracked. This is impossible. We are the Vorthan Empire. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Well, Lisa said with a grim smile. Welcome to Earth. We do things a little differently here. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned decisively in humanity's favor. The aliens' reliance on automation and artificial intelligence had become their greatest vulnerability when faced with human adaptability and creativity. Earth's forces now controlled more than 2/3 of the invasion fleet, with more ships falling to human capture every hour. In the depths of space, Vorthan reinforcement fleets began receiving garbled distress signals from Earth. The messages spoke of impossible human technology and devastating losses. For the first time in their empire's history, the Vorthan faced an enemy that refused to surrender, adapted to their tactics, and turned their own weapons against them. Admiral Cross watched the tactical display with satisfaction. In just 24 hours, humanity had gone from facing extinction to capturing the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. But she knew this was only the beginning. The Vorthan Empire controlled thousands of worlds, and Earth had just declared war on all of them. Set course for the edge of the solar system, she ordered the crew of their newly captured flagship. If they want to fight, we'll take it to them. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun, not through peaceful exploration, but through the capture and conquest of those who had dared to threaten Earth. The Vorthon had come to add another world to their empire, but instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would reshape the balance of power across the stars.